What is up, Tech Feed? Welcome back to the episode of TechnoBuffalo's Driven. I got all kinds of new stuff to talk to you about, and I got myself an all new location. So let's go ahead and get rolling. Today we're going to talk about BMW's wacky looking new i3. Of course, we're going to talk about Tesla because I got a man crush on Tesla. We're talking about cops and what some kid did to a cop and what happened to me with cops. Cops. Alright, so let's start with BMW's i3. If you guys don't know what the i3 is, BMW is launching a whole new brand called the i brand. It's going to launch with the i3. It is a four-door all-electric sedan. It's eventually going to get a big brother, the i8. A year later, that's going to be a crazy-ass sports car. So the i3 is a big deal for BMW for a few reasons. First, it's the very first full-electric car available for purchase. BMW previously shoehorned all the i3's electric bits and business into a 1 Series body and let people lease it, and they called it the Active E. This is the real deal, legit car. It's totally aluminum and has all kinds of crazy weight savings and stuff put into it to make it super aerodynamic. But the big deal for BMW, aside from being electric, which is crazy weird anyway, is that it's a front-wheel drive car, which BMW purists would be like the equivalent of a Lannister and a Stark just making out. Just wouldn't happen. So crazy stuff going on with the i3. It's supposed to launch sometime actually this year, and we're finally getting information. So the folks at Automotive News said the BMW i3 all-electric hatch is likely going to be priced around 40 grand, which is pretty similar to that of a similar equipped 3 Series, which is a pretty killer price actually. Certainly BMW is selling a bajillion to bajillion and a half 3 Series, so the i3 should hopefully fly off the shelves. It's got a range of about 100-ish miles on it, so it's pretty good for all regular driving. But the cool thing BMW is doing, if you buy an i3 or lease an i3, you can just take it to a BMW dealership when you gotta go on a long road trip, and they will give you another car that uses gas. You can go for a longer road, which is kind of neat. So the information that we got here, where Automotive News spoke to Ludwig Wilch, CEO of BMW North America. So the i3 is likely also going to qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit, so that's cool too. And Automotive News also reports that BMW spokesperson could not confirm this just yet, of course. So yeah, no, we don't know much, but $40,000 is much lower than people expected. We were initially expecting a $60,000 price. So in addition to the all-electric i3, BMW is also going to offer a range extender version that uses a 65-liter 2-cylinder motorcycle engine and auxiliary generator to charge the car's battery on the go. So don't think you're going to get like a Volt where you can just put in some gas and go forever and ever. This is pretty much just for emergencies. But it's a kind of cool car, but it looks super funky. It looks like the old Urkel car. Remember the Vendor Schmidt? I think it was a crazy looking thing. What do you guys think about the i3? I've seen it in person at auto shows. It looks good-ish, but it's definitely an interesting ride. Is this something you guys would want? An all-electric car goes 100 miles. It's made by BMW, which, you know, the whole ultimate driving machine thing. So I really want to drive it and see what people think, and certainly the i8 looks damn hot. So i3, you interested? Eh? Alright, so let's just keep it electric for a few minutes, then we'll go totally non-electric, I promise. So earlier this week, Tesla announced they were hiring Aston Martin's chief engineer of vehicle engineering, Chris Porritt, to be vice president of vehicle engineering. Chris is a world-class leader and automotive engineer who established Aston Martin's vehicle engineering team from the totally ground up, using a pretty cool approach as chief engineer for Aston Martin's 177 supercar, which was known as being the most advanced structural design combined with cutting-edge active suspension and aerodynamics. It was freaking fast and super gorgeous, so it's a huge coup that Tesla got this guy. In fact, the day that they announced it on Monday that they were hiring him, the stock jumped up almost 10%, so people are excited. Tesla Model S already looks freaking gorgeous. They got the Model X, which looks awesome, so maybe the next generation, the Gen 3 car, which is supposedly going to be the 3 Series competitor. Man, if it looks anything like an Aston Martin, I'll be freaking happy about that. Alright, so I don't know if you guys saw this, but the #1 most viewed YouTube video over the weekend and on Monday was this kid that essentially walks up to a motorcycle cop who's got his bicycle parked on a sidewalk. Essentially says, hey, why are you parking your bike here? Is it an emergency? You know that's illegal. And the cop, who's perfectly a stereotype of a motorcycle cop, he's got the mustache, he got the helmet on, he just needs probably his Eric Estrada hair under there, essentially just gives the kid a whole bunch of attitude. The kid asks for the officer's badge number, which legally he is required to give, and the officer wants no part of it at all. So it kind of got me thinking about cops in general. Last week, so 2 weeks ago when you guys watched this video, I was driving, minding my own business on the freeway, and I was going the speed limit, 65 here in California. I was going let's say 64.5, it's not to incriminate myself. And I saw there was a cop behind me, so I was made sure I was going the speed limit. I was that slow guy getting passed on both sides because there's a freaking cop behind me. And the cop turned the sirens on. And there is nothing worse than the sinking feeling of a cop putting his sirens on. Obviously there are worse things, but it just makes your heart just drop and you just feel like crap. So I couldn't figure out what I did. My plates aren't expired, my taillights were working, I knew that, and I definitely wasn't speeding. So the cop put his siren on, I was, sworn to my breath, I started pulling off to the right, and I went over one lane, he pulled over one lane with me, I went over one lane more, he pulled over one lane with me more, and then the next lane I was gonna get off the freeway. When I went to get off, he kept going straight. The cop was freaking messing with me, and he turned off his siren. He was just messing with me, and why? I wasn't doing anything wrong. It just made me sad and made me really nervous, like jittery the rest of the day. So if you guys had experiences like that with cops, certainly here on TechnoBuffalo's Driven, we've had our own experiences with maybe we were doing donuts in the parking lot and the cops didn't appreciate it. For one, I respect police officers incredible. I think they've got a really important job to do. They keep us safe, and oftentimes it's a thankless job. But sometimes they like to have a little bit of fun, and when they have that fun, like just messing with drivers, definitely gets my goat. So I want to hear your story about when a cop has messed with you. Leave that in the comments right down below. Thank you guys for watching an episode of TechnoBuffalo's Driven. I am your host, Jon Rettinger. Be sure to subscribe on my chesticles to check out all the best episodes coming at you on the tech feed. I will see you guys next video.